Hello, good evening. Good evening and welcome. Yes, if you see, I changed my video format today. So good evening and welcome. So I'm just going to wait for people to join the stream, okay? So let me just check out my table. Yes. Yes, my table has been captured. Yes. So while we do that, welcome, welcome, welcome. Why you people are joining? As you people are joining, good evening and welcome. This one I need to adjust this one higher. Good evening and welcome to our live class for today. Yes, good evening. So if you can hear me, please let me know, okay? So once you can hear me, so I'm just trying to adjust all of my lightings. Hope they are okay. Yes, good evening. Yes, Ellen, good evening. You're welcome. So can you hear me, Ellen? Ellen, can you hear me? Let me know. Just going to wait for people to join the stream. Let somebody please confirm that you can hear me. Okay, so once you confirm, we are good to go. We're going to start. Ready. So I'm going to readjust the camera. So I just need somebody to let me know that you can hear me, okay? So good evening and welcome. Okay, good evening, Favy. Can you hear me? Thank you so much, Eileen. Akpewe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Today, my dear, some days at least still look good. Understand? Yes. So can you hear me? Okay, so let's get started straight into tutorial for today. Okay, Favy, thank you so much. So now I'm going to readjust my camera. Oh, my phone is low, so it's not here. So I wanted to show you guys. So let me just explain what we are cutting today. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to cut a bustier top, a bustier blouse with a plunging neckline. You know all these our trendy designs. So that's what we are going to be learning how to do today. So it is this tutorial, the beginner, please watch it so that you will not have penny for drafting all those bustiers again. Do you understand? So that's what we are going to do today. So let's draft. So I'm going to adjust my camera now and then we're good to go. My earring is falling off. Okay, hello. Mazube, thank you so much. You're welcome. So let me readjust my camera. So let's see our table. Yeah. Yes. So yes, I really want yes. I really want all of the four corners of the table to show so that all of our live stream will be able to be seeing everything nicely. Can you guys see? Can you beat this? You see how everything is. So please let me know. So I'm just trying to reset so it's not too far and it's not too close. Okay, so with this is good and we are good to go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do now, I am going to take up this paper and we are going to start. So the first thing, if you have been following me, you notice we are going to draft our back pattern first. Yes, so let's pattern. So that actually makes it easier, okay? So the first thing we are going to do when we want to draft the back pattern, we are drafting like a basic bodice. Yes, the dress actually has a yoke. Like let me say, most plunging necklines, they have a yoke. Okay, so that is our start up line. The next line we are going to add, so if you have any questions, please drop your questions. If you are just joining us, welcome. So the next line we are going to add today is our bust point line. So for our bust point, we are going to be making use of 11 inches, okay? So this is 11 inches for our bust point line. Then the next line we are going to be adding is our under bust line, which is 14 inches. And then the full blouse, that's the blouse length I'm going to be making use of 19 inches. Okay, and then just add 1 inch allowance. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, all of these lines like I explained, I'm going to connect them right now. Our bust line, our bust point line, and then this is under bust line, which is 14, and then this is our full length. That's the full length of the, yes, that's the full length. So guys, if you are joining us, if you are just joining us, please leave me a message, let me know where you're watching from. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do now, we are going to add our shoulder measurement. So for the shoulder, our shoulder measurement is 16, so you divide 16 into 2, we're going to have 8 inches, and then I'm just going to add half of an inch to it for my allowance. So from that point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch like this. So most times, if you notice I'm using my free hand, I normally come down by half of an inch. So I'll connect that line like that into the shoulder line that way, and then from this point I'm going to mark my armhole. So my armhole is my bust measurement divided by 6, and then I'll add 1.5 to it. So when I do that, I'm going to have about 8 inches. So I'll mark the 8 inches here, and then I'll connect that to this line like this. Okay, so I'm going to connect that line, so you can see how I'm running the line. Can you see how I run the line? So now this is my chest line, this is my bust point, this is my under bust, and then this is my full length, okay, my waist. Okay, so that's that. So the next thing we are going to do now, we're going to divide half of this part like this, and then we're going to mark our round measurement. Okay, so I'm going to place this like this for my back pattern, and then I'm going to connect this like this. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to add our bust measurement. So for the bust that I'm making use of today is a plus size. We're making use of bust 40. You divide that 40 into 4, I'm going to have 10 inches. I'll mark it here. I'm going to add just like 2 inches for my allowance like this. Okay, and then that same line, I'm just going to extend it to this point because it is my bust line. Okay, so I'm going to mark that line like this, and then the next thing is my under bust measurement. My under bust is 36 inches. So that 36 inches, 34 inches. So when I divide 34 into 4, I'm going to have like 8.5. I hope I'm right. Yes. And then I'm going to add 1 inch to this, and then I'm going to add my stitching allowance. Okay, for the stitching allowance, add how much stitching allowance you want to add. You can add as much as 2 inches or 2.5 inches. Okay, so the next measurement I'm going to add now is the waist measurement. So the waist measurement is 36. Yes, that's where 36 came in, and that 36 divided by 4, I have 9 inches like this. And then I'm going to add my 1 inch for my dart, and then I'm going to add my stitching allowance. I'm using about 2.5 inches for my stitching allowance, and then when I'm done, I'm just going to connect this like, can you guys see? Yes, it's connected. The next thing we want to add is our neckline. So for the neckline, I'll use 3.5 inches like this, and then I am going to use 2 inches for the depth of the back neckline. So I'll mark this that way, and then I'll neck this with my ruler like this. All right, so we have marked our neckline. So the next thing now, for the back, let's add our dart. So for the dart, I'm going to use half of my bust pan measurement, which is 9 inches. That is the half. I don't know why I always say that. I'll say half of my bust pan measurement. I will not call the full measurement. So the full bust pan, that's nipple to nipple, is 9 inches. So when I divide 9 inches into 2, I'm going to have 4.5. So I'll mark that 4.5 like this. I'm going to run that line. I'm going to run it across all of my lines. Okay, yes, and then I will connect it with my straight ruler. So if you have any issues, please drop a comment on the comment section for me. I hope you like my table the way it is showing very well. You can see everything is showing. So this one is deliberate. I decided to change so everything will be clearer on our live stream. You can see the table is showing, everything is showing nicely. So let me know in the comment section if you like the way it is looking. Okay, so the next thing we want to do now, I want to take out our dart. You remember our dart was actually 1 inch dart. So I'm going to come to my under bust part like this, and then I'm going to take half of an inch here and then half of an inch. So for that dart, I don't want the dart, I don't want it to enter into my bust line. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come down by 1 inch. Okay, so I'll be able to mark my dart. But the dart, I want to cut it through. Do you understand? Because in this dress I'm going to put a bone in, so I need to cut it through. But when I'm cutting it through, you people will notice the way I'm going to mark that dart. Do you understand? I'm going to mark it in such a way that is when I come to this side that it will have an opening. But around all this part is going to blend with this part, because this is like a top, like for all this corset top. So I'm not going to just like that from here to here. Do you understand? So I'll cut. Okay, the what do you call it, okay, I'm sorry, I'm trying to just read the comment. Okay, good evening Lucas, you're welcome. Mazube, you're welcome. Hi, good evening. Okay, watching from Ghana, thank you. Nice. Docas, okay, thank you. All right. Okay, so now let's continue now. So I hope people understand what I was trying to explain. So now this is my half inch for my dart. So because I want that to run across, do you understand? So that is why I am doing this. If you notice, just see what I'm doing. My dart is going to run like this. You see, you can see that I'm not coming in. That's around this bust point area like this. Is going to blend. I'm not taking out any inch from here. Okay, and then I'll come to this down part. Down part is going to blend into here too also, because I'm not still taking out anything from my hip line. Because what I'm trying to do this because I want to cut it through. Do you understand? I don't want my dart to just be hanging. So that's why I marked it up. If not, normally if it's just a normal waist dart, I'll draw the line down and then I'll start my dart. I'll come down from my bust point line. I'll come down by 1 inch or 2 inch then before I take out the dart from the waist and then go up back. Okay, all right, thank you so much. Good evening. Good evening Docas, what are you trying to say? I did not get your message. Oh, okay. Okay, the done. Thank you, Miriam. You're welcome. So now let's cut. So for our yoke, so for the yoke, you are going to determine, do you want to use your chest line to cut your yoke straight, or you want to put a design on your yoke? So it depends on what you want. If you want your back to have something like a V, you can create it however. So like this is what I'm saying. You can create your back pattern however. If you want it to come down, if you want it to dip, you can just simply come down. This is our bust line, you know, those kind of deep back neckline. So you can decide to, okay, I will not use line, I want to use my bust line. That's I want my yoke to be as deep as this part. So you can come down however you want to come down. Okay, so guys, so let's design our yoke. So for us in our yoke, what I'm going to do from this point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. So you can put any design you want on your yoke. So you can just, you just create your design however you want to create it. Okay, so after that now we are going to cut this out. So let's cut a straight yoke. So when I'm done, just people should drop your messages. When I'm done, I'll come back and read all of our messages and questions. Okay, so you can see Can you see our back? So you can see the yoke. So the next thing now, let's cut out our bodies before we proceed to the down. So before then, we cannot leave the down part of our blouse like this, so we can curve it if in case I want to curve it, in case I want to make a full gown. But what I have here is like a half cut, because if you notice it's like 20 inches. So this one is, this particular pattern is like when you are doing when you are making a, what do you call it, inbuilt corset, you understand? So that's when you use like 20 inches. So but if it is a normal blouse that you wear, so at this point you can put any design. So this is like 2 inches, you come up like 2 inches and then blend that 2 inches into your pattern like this. So when you blend it up in like this will help your blouse, the design. But if you are doing something like an inbuilt corset, you don't need this one that I just did now. Okay, so I'm just trying to teach you guys different variations, different methods. Okay, so for this, if you want to stitch your waist at this point, you can add another line and then take out another extra inches from this point, but we're not going to do that. I think I did that in one of my classes, showed you guys how to add your waistline. So can you guys see? So this is our back pattern. You see how it looks, how beautiful it is. Can you see? So at this point, I can decide, in case I don't want my yoke to gape, I can come in by half of an inch like this. That's from this yoke. I can come in by half of an inch like this, and then I'll just blend it like this. I'll like cut that part out. Okay, so this will help. Can you see the way I'm cutting it? You see the way I cut it? I did not get to this part, so that will help not to make my yoke to gape. Okay, so at the end, this is our back piece. Can you guys see? So if you find this video helpful, as you are watching, you should please like this video. Okay, you can see the likes on the video is very low. You should like the video. Those of you that are just joining, like the video. Okay, so now let's draft our front pattern. So I'm going to take this off now, and then I'm going to bring another piece of paper that we're going to use to draft our back pattern. Okay, yes. So for the back pattern, here's what I'm going to do. So I'll do the process of adding all of our lines back into our pattern. Is our start line, and then the next line we're going to add is our bust point line. Okay, so the bust point we're using is 11 inches. So this is 11 inches, and then the under bust is 14, and then the full length of my blouse is 20 inches. So I'm going to add, I'm thinking of how many inches bust that I want, if I want to add a bust that, because the back is 20 inches. So if you want to add a bust that, you need to add that extra dip to your pattern. Okay, so if you want 1 inch, you add 1 inch. If you want 2, you add 2 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to use 1 inch for my bust that. So all of these lines, I am going to connect them at this point. So can you guys see? Yes, I'm happy the whole of the table is visible. That's what I wanted. So that is what I wanted. I want the whole of my table to be visible, so you guys, you will see everything clearly. So I've added all of my lines now. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to start adding all of our measurements. So the first thing, let's add our shoulder measurement, which is 16 divided by 2. We have 8 inches plus half of an inch, and then from that point I'm going to come down by 1 inch. After my 1 inch, I am going to blend that 1 inch into my neckline area. It's like my marker is not markering again. So at this point, I'm going to come down. So just like I explained, our armhole, you divide your bust measurement into 4, and then I do 6, and then I'm going to add 1.5 inches to it. So at the point, I'll just mark it like this. So I'll mark it like this, and then I'm going to connect it. So I'll connect it, I'll just mark it straight like this, okay? So this will serve, it will help me to serve like my chest line. Okay, this marker should not go. It should not go. So I want to take half of this line. So this is half of that line. If you notice, I came in by like 1/4 of an inch, and then from that 1/4 of an inch, I'm going to connect this like this. I think I prefer this. I'll connect this like this. Just connect it out, and then now I can now create a beautiful curve. Can you guys see? Yes. So at this point now, the next thing we are going to do, we're going to start adding our measurements. So let's take out our darts first. So let's create our bust here. So at this point, I'll use half of my bust pan measurement, which is 4.5. So I'll mark that 4.5 across all of my lines. Yes, you heard that. I'll mark it across all of the lines, okay? After marking it across all of the lines, I'm going to connect it with my straight ruler like this, okay? Yes, I'll connect that to the straight ruler. So I'm connecting it to the straight ruler. The next thing I want to take out now is my dart. So for the dart, I'm going to use, since it is a plus size, that's the person is like a plus size because the bust is 40. I'm going to take out 3 inches of dart. So that 3 inches of dart, we're going to take 2 inches to this side like this, and then let's take 1 inch to this side. So you can decide to share it, take it half. So from this point, I'm going to mark this. So this, I'm going to mark this down like this. So for the down part, because I don't want my down part, this is 2 inches. I don't want my down part to be straight. So I'll mark 1 inch to this side. Then I'll mark half of an inch to this side, okay? Yes. So this will help. Can you see? So at this point, my that legs are not going to be straight. Then they are not just going to stand straight, no, like that. So the next thing I am going to do now, we're going to create a curve from this point to this point. So in creating that curve is a simple process. I'm just going to take my pattern curve like this, and then I am going to create a nice curve into this point, and then create another nice point into this point like this. Okay, so now the next thing we want to do now, so for this chest part, if you want to do an over bust tightening at this point, you can just tighten it. You can come in by, you can use half of an inch, or you can use 1 inch is too big. You can use 0.75, 0.75, and then you just blend it to give it a better curve. But if you don't want to do a tightening here, you can just leave it this way, okay? So in my previous class, I think I did that. So for this, I'm just going to leave this. So now the next thing, let's create our neckline. So to create a neckline, you people know that this is a plunging. When we say plunging, this is under bust. So that plunge came to this under bust, okay? So now this is where, depends on where you want your plunge to. If you want it to reach that under bust, gang, this is the under bust line, okay? So from this point now, I'm just trying to check it, okay? So from this point now, we are going to go up. You notice that the top part, most plunging, you notice that it has like an arc here. You used to have an arc on top of the chest area, okay? So that having that arc on top of that chest area, you are going to determine that. So you are going to go up. So you can set to go up by 1 inch or 1.5 inch. You understand? So it depends on how up you want to go. So for this, I'm going to go up by 1/4. So it's not up to 1.5. So I'll mark it like this, okay? So you can see what I'm trying to do. So I'm extending this my line like this. So I'm using 1¼ so I'll extend that line. So when I extend that line now, this is where I'm coming to. So most times, even though it is an under bust, that's even if the plunging neckline is on the under bust, don't um cut it to that under bust line. You can decide to come up by like half of an inch. Do you understand? You can come up by half of an inch, because at the end of the day, after stitching, you are still going to, you still find it, you understand, that is after stitching, it's still going to join. It will still look like what do you call it, it will still look like, it will still get to the under bust. But if you mark it, that plunging, if you plunge it into the exact under bust line, after stitching, it's going to come down, almost going to your belly button. So at this point, you are the one that will determine what you want. So if you want it to be on the under bust line, ganga, I don't know the grammar that I will use. People, all the English lecturers, people should come and mark my grammar. Come up, do you understand? Come up by like half of an inch. But if you know you want it to still plunge below your under bust, then you can mark it on the under bust line, or you come down. Okay, so at this point, people know that it's V that we want to mark. So at this point now, you are going to check this point like this. Do you understand? You check this point. How wide do you want your V to be? So this, if I am using 1 inch at this point, my V is going to be 2 inch. That chest part is going to open like this. There are some that are slim. Those ones that are slim, you can use 1 inch. That you can use half of an inch. So at the end of the day, that middle part is going to be like this. Okay, so for this now, let's use 1 inch like this for our V. So when we use 1 inch like this, this is what we are going to do. From this point, we are just going to blend this like this. Okay, sorry. So I'm just going to use my to like create that. My marker is really messing me up now at this point. So you can see. So now I'm going to that part. You remember that part, that high part? That's what I've been trying to do. Exactly. This is what I was trying to achieve. So you can see. So I'll use my curve. Exactly. This is what I was trying to achieve. I'll use it to blend it like this. Can you see? Can you see what I did? You see it? So this one, it will just blend into this place. It did not get to the line. So I'll use this my curve like this. Can you see? I use my curve, that point, that part that was high, that I marked up like that. I use this, I curved it now, and I'm blended it. Remember that 1 inch for the on that chest line area. So if you this is 1 inch. If you want it on the bust point area to open more, you can open up your hand. Do you understand? So it depends on what you want. You can open up your hand. Depends on how wide you want this point to be. Okay, so when you mark to this point, the next thing you are going to do now at this point now is you are going to blend this one into this armhole area. So like I said, let's tighten this part. So let's just use like half of an inch. Let's use half of an inch. It's always is better. Let's use half of an inch. So at this point now, so you can see, I'll mark this to this point, and then I will mark this to this point like this. Okay, so at the end of the day, this part now, I'm going to blend this into my armpit area like this. Yes, I'll blend it into my armpit area. So I'm just trying to eyeball it. I'll just blend it that. And then the next thing now, so we are done. The next thing now, let's take our full body measurement. So our bust, like I said earlier, our bust is 40 I'll mark that 40 inches here, and then this half of an inch, bring that back into your pattern, and then add your stitching allowance at this point. Add your stitching allowance, okay? And then the next thing, we're going to come to our under bust measurements. You people should please like this video, okay? Like it. I'll come to my under bust measurement. So my under bust measurement is, what did I say earlier on? That's 8.5. That's it. 34. Yes. So I'll mark it like this, and then I'll add this half of an inch. Why I'm adding this half of an inch is because of this point. And then I'm going to add my stitching allowance also. I'll add my stitching allowance. So I have about 2.5 inches stitching allowance. Oh, no. I was wondering. This is my line. So I was wondering. So just ignore what I did here. This line, this bust line, this bust measurement is coming here like this, because this is the chest line. What you mark on your chest line is what you will mark on your bust line, okay? So please note, the same thing you mark on your chest line, that is what you are bringing to your bust line, okay? So now this is where we will now mark our under bust measurements, okay? So the under bust measurement, like I said, is 34, which is 8.5. So you mark that 8.5 because I was wondering. And then I'll add my 3 inches dart. I'll bring that back into my pattern, and then I'll add my stitching allowance. I was wondering, I was like, this pattern was not, it was somehow, I knew something was wrong. So I'll connect this like this. I'll connect it to my under bust line, and then the next measurement I am going to mark is the down part of my dress, okay? So for the down part, I'm using 36 inches. So that 36 inches, I'm going to divide that into 4, which is 9. I'll place that 9 inches, and then check how many inches do we have here, which is 1.5. I'll bring that back into our pattern, and then I am going to add my stitching allowance at this point, okay? So when I add it, I am going to curve. I just use a beautiful curve like this and give it a beautiful covering. So the next thing, let's add our bust dart, okay? So our bust dart is, we're using 1 inch for our bust dart, okay? So what I'm going to do now, from this point, this is bust point line like this. So from this point now, I'm just going to come down like this, and then I'll use my, what do you call it? I'll use my use it to blend that into that part. So this is going to be taken off. Yes. So the next thing we're going to do now, so I'm going to take off my dart. That's, I'll take off the yoke, since I'm not adding a shoulder dart, because normally if you're adding a shoulder dart, you open up the shoulder dart and then you close the bust dart. But since I'm not adding a shoulder dart, so once I cut off the yoke, so this part automatically opens, and then I close this part, and then we cut it out, okay? So like I said, these parts now, if you want to make it as, if you're making it as a blouse, here's what you do at this point. You can decide to give it any shape of your choice, okay? So I can come up by 3 inches if I want to give it like a basque design, you understand? And then I'll blend that into this part. But if I don't want to give it that basque design, I want to give it any of this new cornichal corset design. So from this part, I can decide to, I can just give it any shape, depends on what I want, you understand? So from this point, like after marking this like this, I can decide to, instead of coming like this, I can decide to go up like this. So just watch what I'm doing. Do you understand? I can decide to come like this. You understand? You know, this one is a basque. So if I don't want a basque, I want that one that this side will go up. That same point, I can decide to come like this. So it depends on what you want. Okay, so I'm just, like I said, I'm just trying to teach you guys different variations. So for the yoke, let's add our neckline to the yoke. So we're using 3.5 inches, so I'll mark that 3.5 inches, and then I'm going to come down by 3 inches. So let's do 3 by 3, which is like standard. Some people will still tell you, some customers will still tell you that the thing is choking them. The truth of the matter is that beauty is pain. So there are some things you wear, but because if you are cutting a yoke and you are using 3 by 5, it will not look good. You understand? It's not going to look good. The neckline on the yoke is not going to look good. Okay, so now let's off our yoke first, just like I said. So this one, very, very important. So most times I will advise you to cut it like this. Can you see? So I'll take this off. You can see my yoke. So now, since I've taken off that yoke, let me open. Let me cut this off like this. And then when I cut this off like this, I am going to just blend this like this. So I'll just blend this like this. And then, since I don't have sellotape, I left my sellotape somewhere since I'm not going to pick it up. I'll just pin it down like this. And then, so this part that is truncated, when I am, that part that got truncated, I am going to, let me not go and cut my pattern. I'm just going to do this, and then I'll blend that in, because that part that got truncated, I don't need it. I need the full part. Okay, so the next thing now, we are going to cut. So I'll just keep this on the side, and then let's cut. Can you see? So if you have questions, you can drop your questions soon, and I'll come back. I'll swipe down my chart and then read all of my messages back. So can you guys see? Can you see? This is how beautiful this is. You can see our plunging neckline. So most times when I'm doing this, at this point, because I'm teaching, that's why I'm doing this one. At this point, I really don't do this. That's this trimming that I'm trimming. I will not trim it. It's better for it to be small than it to be too deep. Okay, so at the end of the day, this is how it's going to look like. So you can see my yoke. So now at this point now, when you sew, your yoke is going to go in like this, so you can see how this looks. Let's see. That's for the front piece. Let me see. Oh, no. That's not going to do justice to it. I'm just looking for like the right way. Like the right way. So that's for the front, and then this is the back piece. Okay, so like those of you that are just joining, but you like the video, so let me see. Okay, I have been following you, but this my first time joining the live. Okay, that's from Grace. Thank you for joining. Dorcas, ma, that's nipple to nipple. You didn't put sewing allowance. No, sewing allowance is already inside. My sewing allowance is already inside though. That's what I normally do. I will not add extra 5 inch, half of an inch to it. Okay. Okay, so let's see. I'm just trying to read all the messages. So I have been, I think my hand should come from this side because it's like, I think it's better. Yes. Okay. Let me raise it up. Let me raise it up. Okay. I think it's better this way, so that I'll be able to read all the chats. Okay. Okay. Okay, ma. Are we going to put half inches around the bust side? I don't understand. It's raining heavily over here, so it's making it difficult for me to hear. Oh, so sorry. Nice. So sorry. So sorry about that. Okay. So, guys, yes. So, like I said, most of our, okay, let's see. When I fold the bust that, is it not going to, yes, now that's what I did. It will shorten the length. It will shorten the length. And won't it affect the yoke? No, it will not affect the yoke. It will not affect the yoke, because why it will not affect the yoke, this is the only part, this is the part that got truncated, you can see. So that was why we used, here's the paper, that was why we used this paper. You use this paper. So normally this paper, I'm supposed to tape it down. Okay, sorry. I'm explaining on the table. Sorry, I'm explaining and my camera is up. No, so it's not going to affect the yolk. So you can see this is the part that got truncated. So that was why I used this piece of paper. You place it like this. Do you understand? So when you place it like this, you make sure, normally I'm supposed to tape this down. You make sure that you blend that part back. So as long as this part is back on it, it's not going to affect the yolk, because if you see it, if you take a look at it and you see it, it is staying. Do you understand? The full part is complete. It will not affect the yolk. So your yolk is going to stay. And remember, your yolk are normally done with stretchy fabrics. Do you understand? All tools, corset mesh, all of them are stretchy. Do you understand? So they are stretchy. So because of that, you're not going to have. So I'm just trying to adjust my camera, okay? So let's see. So I saw some messages just now. I'm just trying to come back to them. Okay. Okay, that inches. Oh. Okay, so I hope, Ellen, I hope I've answered your question. Okay, well done. Oluwa Omo Lafe. Let me pronounce the one. Thank you so much. Let me pronounce the one that I can pronounce. So, guys, so thank you so much. Let me adjust my camera up now so we can say our goodbye. So, thank you so much, guys. For those of you that tuned in, thank you so much. I will see you guys by God's grace. I don't want to promise, but tomorrow I will try as much as I can to come up tomorrow. Okay, so most times, that's why most times some people, they will ask me, why is my light is facing the wrong side? Some people, they will like ask me, why? I think it's better. As in, when do I normally come up? Most times, like I said, like I normally say, on Tuesdays is like more constant. Thank you so much, Dorcas. Tuesday is more constant, as in like a constant day of coming up, on except maybe something came up that is beyond my control. But Tuesday is constant, and then Thursdays, then Saturdays, then Sundays. So those days, just watch out for those days: Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays. So these are like the days that the the probability of coming up is very high. Okay, except at times I'm so tired. I've been working busy and I'm so tired. I'm not able to come up. I will just feel like resting, so I will not. So that's that. So other than that, so tomorrow once I'm strong, I'll come up. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I hope you guys like the way we position our camera today, so we'll be able to be seen properly. That other one used to be like too far. So thank you so much, guys. I'll see you guys Let me flip my camera. You're supposed to see mine. How do I flip this camera now? People should see some of my designs. Can you guys see? So these are some of my designs. Yes, you can see them. So these ones are dresses that people ordered. Do you understand? People used to order them. So if you, for instance, if you want to order a dress, you can send us a picture and then you order it and then we'll make it for you. So we have plenty fabric, plenty. You can see them, different ones. So you can choose, okay? So thank you so much. So let me turn my camera back. Yes, so that you guys can see me. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow.